We have wandered the back alleys and byways of the internet in the darkness of night to bring you the best content imaginable here on Pastor. Have you seen this? A production of Allen Creek Community Church, where one of our pastoral staff takes a first look at some content you've sent in and provides just a simple Christian worldview on whatever you've brought in. If you have something you want us to take a look at, please email it to us at social@ac3.org. Let's see what we've got this time.
It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It's mistranslated. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and the fit for this video is the death of Superman. The very first word of the Bible in Hebrew is Bereshit, which does not mean in the beginning. If they wanted to say in the beginning, they would have written Barishonah. That's in the absolute state. That has the definite article. Bereshit does not have the definite article because it's not in the absolute state. Every single time it occurs in the Hebrew Bible, it is in the construct state. And this is a fancy way of saying it is in an X of Y relationship with whatever comes after. And so it's better interpreted in the beginning of God creating the heavens and the earth, or more idiomatically in English, when God began to create the heavens and the earth. It is a temporal clause, and the next verse describes the state of affairs when God began to create the heavens and the earth. And what was that state of affairs? Well, the earth was already there, but it was welter and waste, and darkness was over the face of the depths, and God's Spirit moved over the face of the waters. And then the creative act begins with light. So Genesis 1:1 is not creation ex nihilo, creation out of nothing. In fact, there's no creation ex nihilo anywhere in the Bible, because that doctrine was created in the late 2nd century CE by Christians who were debating with Gnostics and other Greek thinkers about the morality of eternal matter and the rationality of the resurrection. And folks who want to bring up, well, 2 Maccabees 7 and these other passages that also talk about things being made uk ex onton, or not from what is. This reflects the Aristotelian notion that creation is a question of imposing form and function on matter that does not have it. And in Greek philosophy, matter that did not have form and function was considered to exist in the realm of non-being. It's not that it didn't exist, it just did not have form and function, and therefore did not have being according to their understanding. This is not creation ex nihilo. Again, that doctrine was created by Christians in the late 2nd century CE. And if you'd like to learn more about this, there are a handful of wonderful texts you can check out.
Not a Hebrew scholar, so I can't speak to the definition of those two words. I'm a little unclear as to what his larger point is. It sounds to me like the idea of ex nihilo, out of nothing creation, seems to be a problem for him, and that there was something that God began to create. So there was something that existed prior to the creation narrative in Genesis 1, seems to be his point. I'm a little unclear as to what the underlying point of that might be. Is he making the case that then there was something there before God began to create? Okay, what do we call that? I would be really interested to hear what his opinion of that was. Did God have a creative process that had begun before we get the words of Genesis 1, and it's just not recorded for us in Genesis? Is that his point? Okay, maybe. I don't know. I only have Genesis 1. So I'm a little unclear as to what his larger point is. But I think, this kind of brings us to the discussion. If you read Rick Thiessen's new book, by the way, called Two Falls, he kind of digs into this idea of, the origins, creation story. And really, when you boil it down, this is really what we've got to come down to. Do we have a belief that there is a God, a designer behind the universe? And in his book, Rick really lays out how reasonable people can disagree on the mechanisms and the precise timing of how the creation unfolds over time. Now, if this fellow is trying to push that discussion back to some kind of primordial, pre-temporal period before Genesis 1, that's a fascinating area of discussion. And definitely, I've got some ancient Hebrew to look up here. And if that's what he's trying to do, great, let's have a discussion about that. But if he's got some kind of secret knowledge that, is going to just blow the whole thing open, which, people on the internet never do, that sort of thing, then, I kind of question, how valuable it is. But the larger point for Christians is that we look at Genesis 1 and we recognize that there is a will, there is a designer, a loving and powerful God who created everything that we're encountering. And if we're in agreement on that, then we're in agreement on that with our presenter today. Hope you enjoyed this edition of PHYST. See you next time.